guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new here. Hi, my name is Rosie, and thank you so much for taking a moment out of your busy day to spend a few moments with me. So in today's video, we are going to be making the ultimate holiday planner that you should need. Just wait until you see everything that's included in this planner. This is not only a one-time for this year, I've made it so that you can use it every year going forward should you need to. So let me kind of show you the different components and then we'll jump right on in to making it. So here is the cover. And we have our side, and then let me open it up to show you everything that's included. So I've made a portable clipboard that you can take and kind of go with you as you're kind of planning. If you don't want to bring the whole binder with you, you can just take the clipboard. And then I've just included some pretty cardstock, or you can use lined paper if you wish. But this is portable as well as it is magnetic. So we have that. And then I've included two little pockets should you need to include receipts or any kind of little things that you may want to keep with this binder to keep everything together. I have these two pockets. And then I've created a pen loop so that you always know where your pen is when you need to use this binder. And then on the right hand side, I've included a notepad. This particular notepad has 100 sheets in it, so lots and lots of room. And you can certainly use dividers should you need to. I didn't really see the need to, but depending on how you plan on planning for the holidays, you may need to, so that's always an option. So I've included that as well. When you open up the whole pad, I've included another pocket here so that you can include additional items should you need to. So there's a pocket there as well. So that's everything that's included with this planner. If you're ready, let's get started. All right, guys, so let me tell you what we're going to need to complete this project. So first, what we're going to need are some pieces of chipboard. So you're going to need two pieces that are 9 3/4 by 6 3/4, and then one piece that is 2 by 9 3/4. So that's the chipboard. And then you're going to need two pieces of 12 by 12 cardstock. And on one of the pages, you're going to score at 1/2 inch and add your double-sided tape. So that's that. And then we're going to need a few pieces of scrapbook paper. You're going to need one piece that is 1.5 by 9.5. And then you're going to need 4 that are 6.5 by 9.5. I ended up doing 2 different patterns, 2 the same for the front and 2 the same for the inside covers. So let's get started. Okay, so let's go ahead and bring in our 2 pieces of cardstock that are 12 by 12. Like I mentioned, I scored one of them at 1/2 inch and then just placed my double-sided tape onto my score mark. So let's go ahead. I'm going to release just a little bit of the paper and then join my 2 pieces together so that it gives me one long piece. Okay, great. All right. Okay, so I'm going to bring in my chipboard piece that is 2 by 9 3/4, and I'm going to place it about 1 inch from the bottom, and the middle of my chipboard is going to go right on top of my seam where I joined my 2 pieces of cardstock together. So let's go ahead and put that down. Then let's go ahead. I've already added my double-sided tape to all of my chipboard. And now I'm going to place one of my 6 3/4 by 9 3/4, about 1/8 of an inch away from the spine. Okay, and then let's go ahead and put down the other piece of chipboard. Okay, so again, about 1/8 of an inch away. Let's see, that looks good. Okay, so now that we have our chipboard down, now I'm just going to fold over very carefully our cardstock so I can get it ready to miter. Okay, and then I typically like to stand it up. Just makes it easier. Okay, and then do the other side. Okay, now let's go ahead and miter. Instead of bringing in my scissors, I'm just going to use my finger blade. Okay, there's one. Let's see here. It's a little bit awkward because it's just so big. All right. So tell me, guys, tell me what you have planned for the holidays. Do you do Thanksgiving? Meaning, do you host, or do you go to family or friends or anything like that? I know my Thanksgiving is going to be a little bit chill. It's going to be a nice slow day, which I love. Okay, so let's go ahead now and place double-sided tape to all 4 edges. Okay, so I've added my double-sided tape to all 4 edges, and I've removed the paper backing. So now I'm just going to start in the middle and just fold my sides over, my longer sides. And then let's go ahead and let me grab my tool here, and then I'm just going to pinch in the sides. Okay, and then let's just fold this over. Do the same thing on this side. Use your scoring tool just to kind of poke in the edges. Now let's just go ahead using our bone folder and just make sure that everything is pressed down really well. And then just where our grooves are, our gussets between the spine and the covers, just very lightly, just kind of reinforce that hole so it makes it a little bit easier to fold the covers. There we go. All right, so now the base of our project is done. Let's go ahead and go on to the next part. All right, guys, so now what we need, we're going to be lining the inside of our project. So we're going to need 2 pieces of cardstock, one that is 9.5 by 12, and the other one is 9.5 by 4. So let's go ahead and start with the 9.5 by 12. And I've already placed double-sided tape everywhere. And we're just going to place it right on, let me see, maybe I should do this backwards so I can see it a little bit better. And it's awful sticky on my fingers. All right, let's see here. A little closer, right about there. Okay, and now let's bring in our piece that is 4 by 9.5. And let's place this down. Here, that looks even. Okay, so now let's go ahead and burnish it all down. Let's use our bone folder or whatever you have. Okay, so just like before, we need to go ahead and just make our little creases a little bit more easier for our project to bend. Okay, very easily. You don't want it to crack. All right, so there is the beginning of our structure. Okay, so now what we need to do is let's work on the right hand side cover. That's where we're going to be placing our notepad on. Okay, now it's time to bring in our notepad. So I picked up this writing tablet from the Dollar Tree. I'm sure you guys have all seen it. So this notepad measures 5 3/4 by 8 3/4, and there's 100 sheets in here. So I thought that this notepad would be perfect for our project. Actually, you know what, guys? This notepad is what spurred on the inspiration, the idea for the project that we're doing now. Okay, so now what I'd like to do, because I really don't want to kind of see this, I'm just going to line it. So I have a piece that's going to go on top, and then I cut myself another piece that is going to go inside. So when you open it up, it's going to have a pretty pattern. So let me tell you the different sizes that you're going to need. So for the outside of the notepad, you're going to need a piece that is 5 3/4 wide by 8 3/4 high, and we'll probably do a little bit of trimming afterwards. And then for the inside of the front cover, you need a piece that's 5 3/4 by 8 5/8. And I have purposely left just a little bit of the white showing because I don't want it to interfere as we open and close this notepad. All right, let's go ahead and get these two pieces onto our notepad. Okay, so I've gone ahead and I have placed my double-sided tape both on the front as well as the back. Now, because these are from the Dollar Tree, they're not always made all that great. So if you see that your black piece is coming undone a little bit at the top, just add glue. Okay, so let's go ahead and start, and I'm going to go ahead and bring in my 5 3/4 by 8 3/4 piece of paper, and that's what's going to be added to the top. So I'm just going to remove the paper backing. Let's see. So for this pattern, I decided I wanted something that was kind of plain in a way so that I could decorate it. And so let's go ahead. I'm just going to go from the corner, double checking that I'm in frame here. And I'm bumping it right up. Let's see, I'm going to bump it up right to the edge. Okay. Now, I know that I went a little bit off because sometimes the measurements that are placed on the product isn't necessarily probably correct, I would say. It's always off just by a little bit. So I decided to make it a little bit bigger so that I can make it exact. Okay, just using my finger blade to go right across the bottom. Okay, and get that little snippet off. Okay, all right, now let's work on doing the back. So again, I've already added my double-sided tape. So let's just take the paper backing off. Let's get rid of that. Okay, so let's go ahead and bring in the other piece of scrapbook paper. It's 5 3/4 by 8 5/8. And let's see, I need to go upside down. Let's see. Trying to get it as even as possible. Okay, let's go ahead and just bring in my bone folder to make sure that I'm pressing it down really, really well. Okay, so now our notepad is completely lined, so no matter which way you look at it, it is good. And you know what? Like I mentioned, since this is a Dollar Tree and it's not the best of quality, I'm gonna reinforce all of the spine with my reptile glue, and then I'll let it sit for a little bit. Okay, so I'm just gonna push it along the spine. Okay, and then I'm just going to use a few pieces of clips here just to make sure that I have it really held on good. Okay, let's go ahead and put this piece to the side for a second while we continue working on the next piece. Okay, so let's start working on the inside of our binder. So we're going to work on the right hand side inside cover. So for that, that's where we're going to place our notepad. So what you're going to need is a piece of cardstock that is 7 by 8 7/8, and then we're going to score at a 1/2 inch on 3 sides. We're going to go ahead and just miter cut the bottom corners and angle cut the top. And then what we're going to need is a piece of scrapbook paper that is 5 7/8 by 8 1/8, and we're going to place that right in the middle. So let me go ahead and just fold these over so I know exactly where I should be placing it down, and I'm going to turn it upside down just to make sure that I know where I'm placing it. Okay, and let's go ahead and just place this down. Okay, so now we've done that. So now we're going to place a pocket at the bottom of this. So what you're going to need is a piece of scrapbook paper that's 5 7/8 by 2 1/2. And I've placed my double-sided tape on 3 sides. And let's go ahead and let me just make sure all of my adhesive is pushed back. Sometimes I get a little overzealous with the adhesive. All right, so I'm just going to line it up to the corner. Okay. Okay. All right. So there is our pocket. I ended up just making a flat copy, and then I thought it might be cool just to kind of place a border right here. So I went through the cut-aparts for this collection and found these border strips. So I just cut that out. So the size for the border strip, 5 7/8 by 1 1/8. So let's see, do I want, no, I want it like this. Okay, and I'm just going to line it up. Let me do it this way. I'm going to line it up to the top of our pocket. And okay. All right, let's just burnish it down. Okay, and then let's go ahead and just do a thumb notch punch. Let's see here, and okay, just making sure that it looks even to me. Okay, so there we have our pocket. So we have our pocket and then our pocket, and while we're at it, let's go ahead and make a thumb notch here because our notepad is going to slide in here, and it might be helpful to have a little thumb notch here as well. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to cover both the outside and inside covers and spine. So what you're going to need are 4 pieces for the actual covers that are 6.5 by 9.5. And then you're going to need 2 pieces for the spine, inside and outside, that are 1 7/8 by 9.5. Now I've decided to do 2 of each, so I've decided to do 1 pattern for the inside cover, and then on the outside I decided to do 2 of the same, but the spine I thought might be cute to do in a different pattern. So you can mix it up any which way you want. So let's go ahead and get it started. So I'm going to bring in let me get my finger blade, and I'm going to work on covering my inside left-hand side of the binder. I've already done the right-hand side. I thought actually that I was filming, and I wasn't. Okay, so let's see here. All right. So paper backing is off. This is non-directional, so I'm good there. And then let's go ahead and just place it down. Okay. So there is that. Now let's work on the spine. So I decided to do the same pattern. And then let's go ahead and just place it right in the middle of our spine. So right in the middle. Oh. Let me see here. I think I can bring it down just a little bit. Okay. Okay. So there is our spine. Make sure you burnish it really well. Okay, let's go ahead now and do the front. So I'm just flipping it over. Okay, let's grab the first one. Okay, so let's go ahead now and work on covering the front. I've already added my double-sided tape throughout. And let's go ahead. Let me turn it over first just to make sure that I am in the right spot. Okay. Okay, orientation looks good. Okay, let's work on the spine next. Alrighty, and let's do the remainder. So make sure my orientation looks good. Okay. So now we have our covers all decorated. Okay, so here is our binder. It's looking so beautiful. And here's our inside. Okay, let's go ahead and place down our pocket that we made for our notepad. And I'm going to go up maybe about 1/4 of an inch. I'm trying to make sure that it is straight. Okay, that looks good. Okay, and then let's put this part down. Okay, so let's go ahead now and just burnish it down so that our adhesive has a chance to really bind with those fibers. Oh, that looks so cute. Okay, so now we have our pocket for our larger notepad, and then we have another pocket right here. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to the next part. Okay, so let's go ahead and bring back in our notepad that we covered. And now we're going to need 2 pieces of cardstock that are 5 3/4 by 2.5. I opted to have one of them be a silver glitter cardstock, and then the other one is the same pattern that I used to line the inside of our book. Again, I like to have different patterns kind of represented throughout the project. So what we're going to do is something that looks like this. I'm going to place this at the bottom, and then I'm going to place this on top. And then I've just cut myself a little piece of ribbon, and let's see, do I want it here or here? I kind of like them both. All right, let's go ahead first and put down the first one. So let me go ahead and get rid of all of the paper backing. Okay, so I have my glue gun warming up, and let's go ahead. I've placed double-sided tape on both of my cardstocks, and now I'm just going to add it. I made myself a little mark as to where to place it down. Okay, and if I go over just a little bit, that's okay. I can always trim it. Okay, and now let's go ahead and place down the other piece. So I'm just lining it up corner to corner. Okay. Okay, just burnish it so it's really pressed down. Now let's go ahead. I am going to cut myself. It went over just a little bit, so I'm just going to trim that. Okay, so now we have that. Now it's just a matter of adding our ribbon to it. And I'm debating, I think I like it on top. So what I'm going to do is I've got my glue gun all ready, and let's go ahead and add some glue. Okay, so there is our notebook. All right, let's work on the next part. So for the next piece, we're going to be making a little chipboard, and let me tell you what we're going to need. We're going to need a piece of chipboard that is 5 by 5.5, and I've already added double-sided tape to everything. Then we're going to need a piece of scrapbook paper that's 6 1/8 by 7. That's to cover it. And then the liner piece is 4 3/4 by 5 1/4. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so let's go ahead and bring in our 6 1/8 by 7 piece of scrapbook paper. And I am going to add my chipboard right in the middle. Let's see. Okay. Okay, so we've done that. Let's go ahead now and just miter cut our corners. And last one. Last one, guys. Okay, let's go ahead and just fold up our sides. Okay, and last two. Okay, and last one. Okay, let's use our bone folder just to make sure that we're pressing it down really, really well. Okay, so there is one side of our clipboard. And now we're going to place down the liner piece, which is 4 3/4 by 5 1/4. And I'm going to do it upside down just to make sure that I know where I am placing it. Okay. Oh, let's see. Maybe I can go up just a little bit. Okay, so there is our liner. Okay, so there is our clipboard, which will, let me bring back in our base. Let's bring in the binder. Okay, and let's see here. Let's go ahead and put in, let me move my glue gun. Okay, let's go ahead and place in our notebook. Okay. And then this way too, this is going to be good for if you want to use this from year to year, you can absolutely do that. You can take out this notebook and use it again next year. You can use this from year to year. This is not a kind of throwaway binder. All right, so now we have that. Let me go ahead and show you our, let me turn it right side up. We will have a little clipboard here. Do it kind of in the middle. So we're going to have our little clipboard there. You can either do it that way or you can do it this way. Totally up to you what side you want to show. Let's see, and I'm going to do it this way. Okay, so next what I wanted to do was add just 2 little pockets right here at the bottom. I thought that that might be cute. Okay, so now we're going to make our 2 little mini pockets. So what you're going to need are 2 pieces of cardstock. I'm using black that are 2 7/8 by 3.5 inches. And then on the 2 7/8 inch side, we're going to score at 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, 2 3/8, and 2 5/8. And then we're going to turn it to the 3.5 inch side, and we're going to score at 1/4 inch and 1/2 inch. And we're going to do that to both. And then the scrapbook paper that you're going to need, that's going to sit right on the front, is 1 3/4 by 2 7/8. So that's going to line, or rather the front, it's going to decorate the front of your pocket. Then we just need to make a couple of cuts, and this is what it should look like. Little steps. So we're going to remove the corner 3 boxes. Corner 3 boxes on the side, and then just cut from here to the first score mark. I hope that makes sense. I'm going to place a picture on the screen for you just so that you have hopefully a clearer visual. Okay, now what we're going to do is let's turn it over. We're going to go ahead and just lift up the sides and go right over the bottom, just like that, and do the same thing on the opposite side, like that. Okay, so basically this is what you have. So it gives us a 1/4 inch of a gusset inside. So go ahead and we're going to do the exact same thing to the other side. Okay, hopefully that made sense. Unfortunately, I did this ahead of time, so I definitely need to place something on the screen for you. Okay, let's bring back in our base. And now, let's see, you know what? Let's go ahead and do a thumb notch for these pockets. And let's do the other one. Okay, now we can attach it to the bottom of our left-hand side. So let's do the first one. Okay, and I'm going to use my bone folder to make sure that I'm pressing it down really well. But I want to make sure that I get them down first so I know exactly where they're going to lay. So there's one and there is another. Okay, let's go ahead and use something that we can get our fingers in. Okay, so I'm just going to bring in a bone folder, make sure it is truly on there. Okay. So now we have our, that looks good. So now we have, let's just see, we're going to close it up. And let's see, we've got plenty of room to add more items. Okay, so I thought that it might be nice to have a pen loop here on the inside spine. We have more than enough room, as you can see here, to hold additional items. So I'm going to add a pen loop. So we're going to need 2 pieces of paper that are 2.5 by 1. One I've used a cardstock. The other one is a piece of scrapbook paper. And then all I'm going to do is line one right on top of the other. Essentially, the reason why I'm doing that is I just want to make it a little bit thicker, because I'm just assuming that I am going to be taking a pen in and out of this. So I really want it to be as sturdy as possible. So I'm just going to layer one right on top of the other. Okay. Make sure it's down there really well. Now I'm just looking to see if I see any extra piece, which I do, just a little bit. I see it hanging over, kind of looking around, and I think that looks good. Okay, next what we want to do is we want to make, let me grab my scoring tool, we want to make a couple of score marks. We're going to score on the 2.5 inch side. We're going to score at 1/2 inch and at 2. So essentially we have 1/2 inch on either side. So let me just fold that on the 2.5 inch side. And we're going to add double-sided tape to where the crease mark is. So that 1/2 inch, we're going to add our double-sided tape. Okay, next, now we can do this one of 2 ways. Either we can place our double-sided tape, right, and have that hold it, or we can reinforce it with little brads. And I think that's what I'm going to do. The first thing that I need to do is bring in my hole punch so that I can punch some holes. And I'm going to go right in the middle. Let me see if I can show you here. So we have our 1/2 inch, right? This is our 1/2 inch. I'm just going to go right in the middle. So in the middle going this way and this way. So I'll do that on both sides. So let's see here. Okay, there's one. And let's turn it and do the opposite side. Okay. Get rid of this garbage. So now let's see if you can see, we have our holes on either side. Let's go ahead and bring in our binder and decide where we want it. And I'm just going to make a mark where my holes are. Let's see, how high do I want it? I think I want it this high. So I'm just going to lay it down and then just make myself a little mark. Okay, let's go ahead. I've made my marks, and let's go ahead and just bring in my crocodile, my hole punch, and I'm going to try to get it right in the center. Okay, so there are my 2 holes. Let's go ahead and grab a couple of brads. All right, now let's go ahead and attach our pen loop to our spine. So I'm going to remove the paper backing. And let me move this stuff over. And right there. Okay, and then let's add our brad. Okay. Okay, let's go ahead now and do the other side. So let's remove the paper backing. Let me see, I need to be able to see this. All right, and right to the edge, and then add my brad. And close it up. Okay, so not only do we have our double-sided tape, but now we have a brad to kind of hold it in place. And I am going to bring in one of my pens, and there you have it. So now we have a pen all ready and waiting, and we still have plenty of room to do additional items should we wish to. Now the prongs that are right here, I'm just going to cover them when I decorate, so not a big deal at all. So there is the structure, guys. Let's go ahead. Oh, let me put this back here. Let me place back my little clipboard. So now let's take a peek. This is a magnetic clip. So when we open it, we have a little clipboard here, 2 little mini pockets. We have our pen loop, and we have our pad. And it's decorated on both sides as well. We included a pocket right here. So what the beautiful thing about this is that we can remove the clipboard, and we can use this clipboard just moving it around, so it's completely portable. All right, guys, so there is the structure. Now I'll go ahead and I'll start to decorate, and then I'll come back. All right, guys, so I'm done decorating this little binder, and let me show you kind of what I've done. So I've included in the bottom here is a large pink heart doily. I cut off the edges, and then I just took some cut aparts and placed them on, did some fussy cutting of some images, added a flower, used my layered snowflake punches here, and then just peppered throughout some enamel dots and some gems. And then here I included some embroidery floss, made it a bow, and then included a flower in the middle. Doesn't that look just so festive? This planner is actually calling your name and wanting to be used. Honestly, you're going to have so much fun using this for the holidays. All right, let me show you the spine. So on the spine, it's a little bit larger, so I'm trying to get all of it. I used chipboard stickers, some gems, just to kind of make the spine pretty. And then on the back, I didn't do anything at all. I felt that the back, because of the paper, it was busy and beautiful and just so festive that I really didn't need to do anything to it. So let's go ahead and look on the inside. move this over. And then on the inside, let me show you kind of what I've done. So here is our chipboard. I just layered some cardstock images on top of each other, added some gems, and then I found this really cute, thick chipboard image. Here, hot cocoa and some marshmallows. And then on the opposite side, I cut myself some pieces of cardstock. Now you can use cardstock or you can use lined paper, whatever you need. I have lined paper on this side, so that's why I went with a pretty cardstock. Instead of using your normal white, I wanted to pull out the pink that you see kind of peppered throughout my scrapbook paper. So there is that. Let me just kind of put this back. And I think it looks just so pretty, just sitting right there. Oh, I'm in love with it. And then here for the pockets, because they're small and the scrapbook paper is kind of busy, I just added some gems on either side. I included a Santa chipboard sticker, added a little gem, and then I had this cardboard sticker border and decided to place that down to break up the top from the bottom. And then on the spine, I just used a chipboard banner as well as a chipboard sticker here, added a little gem in the middle of the bow. And then here on my notepad, I just included a chipboard sentiment. It says cookies for Santa, and then flanked it with some gems on either side. Here I've placed a white heart doily. I just placed it upside down and cut it about halfway down. And then found this chipboard sticker here. And then again, just flanked it with some gems. In the middle, I made this really pretty bow. I made it with gold mirror cardstock, and then I lined that with some of the scrapbook paper. And then I included a candy cane charm right in the middle, dangling from the middle of the bow. Here I have a chipboard sentiment. It says the magic of Christmas, and flanked that with 2 gems. And then we have all of our paper that's in our pad. And then on the inside, I just decorated my pocket. I used a rickrack trim and then hanged down some felt stockings and placed a gem in the middle of each of the stockings. And then I included 2 cut-aparts. These are larger cut-aparts, the 4x6s, and then I backed them on different colored cardstock, and then included a gem on either side of each cut-apart. So there they are. Put this back. All right, guys, so what do you think? I am absolutely in love with this project. Honestly, I think this is, and I probably say this all the time, but I think this is my absolute favorite project. It did take a little bit of time, but anything that's good is worth working towards. So it wasn't that long. I think that the video, because I went into so much detail, and that's all for your benefit, I think that this particular project, honestly, not only is it functional, what a gift. If you know somebody that does a lot of planning for the holidays, and you know, this would definitely help them out. Imagine the look on their face when, 1, you thought of them, but 2, that it includes everything that they may need for their holiday planning. So honestly, this is not only a fantastic gift, But it's also a wonderful item for you to produce, create for yourself. It would make your planning that much easier. All right, guys. Well, that's all I have for you today. I really hope that you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please smash that like button. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And if you have, guys, thank you so much. Your support goes an awful long way in helping my little channel out. All right, guys, until the next time, stay safe, be kind, and keep it creative.